we need to play some catch up, and I'm just rolling with this. I've been pretty busy with work and family and kids, and I've been actually rebuilding my home lab, and I figured this would be a time to maybe just introduce what I'm working with. So started earlier in the year to build up my home lab for testing Kubernetes and deployments and all that stuff. Because even though I'm a cloud engineer, hosting EKS daily and always running it is very expensive. So I decided I'm going to build a home lab, host my own everything possible, get CI/CD, put it on Kubernetes, bare metal, Proxmox, the works, monitoring, security, just blow it out of the water. And that's what I've been doing. I've been rebuilding it. So I did some testing with Proxmox and got things set up and kind of figured out how everything works. And now I'm kind of confident enough to where I can move around and I can do what I want with it and start building everything out. I've switched over to here. Yeah, this screen here. You can kind of see what I'm working with. Let me get rid of my screen for a second. So I have this network rack, which is actually a pretty small audio network rack, where I put some Ubiquity equipment in it, such as a USG for the firewall and router. And then I have a small PoE switch and then a flex switch, which I need to upgrade because I ran out of ports. Um, so my actual hosts in my home lab are two ThinkPad Tinies and two Dell Micros, both i7, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and 500 SSD. I also have a NAS. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to do all my backups and all my non-critical storage VMs and have them on the NAS. And then anything that's critical running on a host, such as my Kubernetes cluster, I don't want that storage to go over my 1 gig Ethernet. I don't have the money to host 10 gig Ethernet, and I'm not buying a $1,500 NAS. It ain't happening. So I have to do a little bit of hybrid approach. So extended storage on the bare metal gives me the option to get the performance I need for read writes, databases, and it could probably work over 1 gig, but I don't want to test it. So you can see this is an outdated picture. I'm too lazy to go take another picture. But they're right in here. There's actually two more Dells, and then I moved this rack down one. So I got a total of four, and you can see my NAS. And this gaming computer is now what up my streaming computer, and that's what I'm streaming this video. So what I'm thinking is I want to have pretty much a production grade Kubernetes. And what I mean by production grade is I'm not going to go for as much high availability as 3 master nodes. I don't need that, but I don't want to waste my resources on that. But I do want to do is have multiple masters and multiple clusters. What I mean by that is I want a separation of concern. I want a Kubernetes cluster for my monitoring and security tools. I want a Kubernetes cluster for all my services that support my infrastructure, such as CI/CD, Git, security tool, or not security, just managed services, stuff that supports my infrastructure. And then I want an application cluster. That's where I'm going to host things such as like Bitwarden and Bookstack and random things like that, just so I can test and actually have real live applications. And I also like to mess with vulnerable VMs. I have a security background in InfoSec. I cut my teeth in the industry, learning Hack the Box before that wasn't even a thing. It was actually VulnHub is what I used. And I've always been interested in that stuff. So I kind of like to spin up vulnerable VMs in Proxmox rather than on my host. So that way I don't have to deal with all that bull. So I have a lot of flexibility going on. What we can see here is, just a couple worker nodes, maybe some logging nodes, metrics nodes, main nodes, all in Proxmox. Now, as far as monitoring goes, I want to use Prometheus with Thanos to get all the cluster logs together, maybe push them to, Prometheus with Thanos for all the metrics. And then Grafana and Grafana Loki for all the logs, which I can back up to S3 for retention and rehydration as needed. And then some of my services you can see here. I want to use Drone CI. I think Drone is a pretty awesome tool that I'd like to get more comfortable with. I kind of just spun it up one day and just checked it out. Integrates well with Git, which is an open source Git, which I'll be using. And then I might actually take a chance at Rancher. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want that abstraction layer. I might just go completely Kubernetes, but this is the thought. But eventually I'm going to set up Pi-hole, because I want to get all the dang blocking ads and all that stuff out of my network. And then we have these two guys down here. This Nginx, there's actually two Nginx hosts that I have already running in my environment. One is a load balancer for my Kubernetes cluster. So or clusters. So what I want to do is have multiple API endpoints. So that way, if I can expand a cluster and if I get more resources into 3, I use this as the proxy endpoint for my API. So that way I don't have to worry about rebuilding my cluster to add another worker node, master node. And then I have another one, which is Nginx Proxy Manager for my services. Since this isn't running in the cloud, I can't spin up ingress controllers like I want to be able to get automatic generated load balancers and connect to them. So I need to manage load balancer or a proxy outside of the cluster so that way I can route traffic to the specific nodes and node ports. Then WireGuard. WireGuard is a little bit new on the scene as far as VPNs go. I think they've been around 2 years, but they work over using SSH authentication with public and private keys. And my thought process is to be able to just connect to my network anywhere, apply the keys for my house and my family to connect to Bitwarden, password managers, and all that. And I'm also considering creating a VPN gateway with another exit called WireGuard, where I actually put a HA proxy in a VPS server like, let's say, Linode. And then from there, I proxy request and switch the setup. So I'll put the client in my network and put the server in the cloud and have it forward the request to the server. So that way I can take my HTTP requests and send them straight directly into my network without having to worry about any open public subnets or anything like that. So I think that's the route I'm going to go. It's going to take some testing. I have a lot of work to do because honestly, I've been building all this stuff and kind of here's where I'm at now. So see, I have a Proxmox server here. All right. Now you can see my face again. See what we got going on here. So here's my Proxmox server. My Proxmox server has 4 nodes, as I said, 2 ThinkPads, 2 Dells, and what you can see, there it is. There's my Kate service controller. There's 1 worker, another worker, and there's another worker. And I also have Nginx Proxy Manager and the API Nginx LB. This is kind of where I'm started. And the best part is when you use open source tools, find online, they say, hey, here's a Helm chart. Just spin this up and it works. It doesn't always work. Let's see why. All namespaces running. Oh, looks like it's just my core DNS. Work. Personal get T. They said, hey, download our Helm chart to get started. Watch this. I actually had to take apart the Helm chart and figure out what the heck was going on with it. So I'm going to, let's see, the get T service itself. See what we got. We can see get T is still pending. Why? Probably because they incorrectly did node selectors and or labels for the stateful sets. So I have to go in, dig apart, figure all this stuff out, and kind of just see what's going on here because I have no idea. That's pretty much it where I'm at. And time to leave everything on a cliffhanger, and that's a daily vlog for DevOps stuff. See you later.